Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at both wagertalk.com and sportsmemo.com, when all daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including 5% best bets, normally priced at $35. As an added bonus, any picks packages loaded early for overnight Tuesday or action during the week will also be priced at $9 until midnight on Monday. So make sure to take advantage of getting these $25 and $35 picks for only $9 before the clock strikes 12 and they return to regular price.
Happy Tuesday, guys, and welcome in right here to Wager Talk TV. We're here to find some winners for you in the National Hockey League. You are watching Puck Time. I'm Andrew McInnis. I have Carmine Bianco with me and Don Buster. We have 4 games, including the Devils, Canadiens, Leafs, Penguins, Wild, Predators, and the night game with the Stars and Lightning. That's actually in the East Coast, so that will be an early game. But 4 good games to break down. Of course, some conference games, some out-of-conference games, a little bit of everything, and some games with some close odds. You know, not huge favorites on today's board. Of course, it is a massive Tuesday slate. As you guys know, we just break 4 games down. Then we have best bets up at the end of the show. But I want to bring in Carmine. Carmine, how was your night last night, man? And I know you had stoppage time this morning. How'd that show go?
Hello, boys. The show went great, man. We did a World Cup preview show. The second one, I did one with Kelly Stewart that is on the Wager Talk TV channel. So view that one. I break down a lot of info for that. And that tournament kicks off on Sunday as host nation Qatar take on Ecuador. I'll be in Niagara Falls, New York, and Buffalo for the Bills game. Joe Ranieri and his beautiful girlfriend are coming up. I'm heading down there with a buddy of mine. We're going to stay there for a couple days, and we're going to hit some bars. And instead of pizza reviews, Andrew, I'm going to do some wing reviews, some wing and beer reviews from across some of the finer establishments that everybody in Twitter land was nice enough to tweet out to me some places to go to. So I'm going to test some of those things out. 2-0 day. Or 2-0 night last night in NHL for me and my clients. So I was pretty happy about that. The only game, because I did give out on the show the opinion that I really liked the St. Louis Blues. That theme I talked about, the winning theme, getting that monkey off your back. Cheshire Cat, if if the guy is in our chat, Cheshire is probably saying, what's he talking about, that monkey on your back? Well, the Calgary Flames get a win. The St. Louis Blues, after 7 games in a row, losses in a row, have now won 3 in a row. 2 big wins on top of that in Vegas against a hot Vegas team. And again, in Colorado last night, the ending of that game, Andrew, was absolutely insane. 5-on-3 for like 2 minutes. And then they pull their goalie and they have a 6-on-3. And I'm like, please don't score. I want this to end it because I put some pizza money on that. So I'm going to be eating some pizza later on today. The only game that didn't go the way I thought was the one I talked about on the show, which is the Ottawa Senators at a short plus money price against the Islanders. And the Isles just continue to motor along. So I think it was a good show for us overall with our opinions. Yep. It was a good night for clients, which I'm really happy about. And we move on to today. But before I throw it to Buster, yesterday, and welcome to the show, I cooked barbecue last night. I made Mexican street corn. It was absolutely phenomenal, my friend. My Mexican street corn is quite possibly, it's better than anything you're going to find in Mexico. I'm going to tell you right now. Carmine.
Well, you know what,
Mexican
Carmine?
Street corn.
I totally believe that because personally, I cannot eat the Mexican street corn here, and it looks so good. You see, you go to one of these fairs and stuff like that. Mind you, they haven't had too many since the pandemic, but yeah, go there. Just haven't got the taste for that Mexican street corn, so maybe I will have to try it up there when we get there. You're going to that Bills game. You're going for pizza and wings. You're probably staying at Seneca Niagara if I know you. So try Mr. B's. That's the place to go. Since the pandemic, we went over when we were back in Canada, and they've really picked up their game. So that's a good. Since you have pizza money on the St. Louis Blues last night, that'd be a good place to go spend it. Yeah, good. Tough card tonight. Really tough card. I found it one of the toughest cards of the year. I just thought it was really tough. And of course, me and Andrew always talk about this, how, behind the scenes, we say to Carmine, don't put any Montreal games on. Don't put Montreal on the games. Of course, here we are with Montreal. You notice how he never puts Buffalo on. I mean, the only time Buffalo probably gets on is if you guys are doing a Monday show or something and there's only 3 games, but never Buffalo. He never wants to talk about that.
No, but
he sure wants to get us talking about Montreal, and I don't,
Yeah.
So of course, I wear my Montreal shirt
Andrew,
today.
Andrew, I get you. You guys are diehard Montreal fans. The reason why the Habs game is on there is because it is a game of interest. The Habs have won 3 games in a row. They got a nice little 3-game win streak. They invite a team that has won 9 games in a row in the New Jersey Devils, who just don't seem like they can lose a game. And I just want to see if you guys think they're ripe for the picking tonight, that they can knock off this team. So that's why it is on there. But one final point. I'm glad that over the years, the quality of beer and the strength of beer in the U.S. has evolved, because it used to be you had a better chance of getting drunk drinking Fiji water if you went to the States than drinking their beer. That was like 3 or 4%. So many really cool microbreweries throughout the U.S. and, of course, in Canada. I'm looking forward to it. Those are the kind of places I want to find in Buffalo, places that are almost like the microbreweries, independent shop owners and things. So we'll see what happens. But we had some hockey to talk about, Andrew.
Yeah, see, that's why I'm disappointed, Carm, because the last time, this is only going to be my second NFL game I've ever been to in my life, this weekend at Gillette. And the last time I went there, it was a 4:25 game, so we had time to drink all afternoon. Now it's a 1 p.m. game, so it's going to be, obviously it's definitely doable, and we're going to have a good time doing it. But I wish we got the tailgate. Wish it was more of a primetime game because, especially when you're drinking weaker beer, you need to have some time, but it'll be fine having that 1 p.m. game, but getting the bus or whatever we're taking from Boston to there and the Gillette and show up for the tailgate party. It'll be a good time, but I wish it was a 4:25 game to be able to throw back some drinks a little bit longer. But yeah, and as far as the Montreal game goes, let's jump into it right now.
I need to comment on that last little thing. I know we got to get the show going, but anytime we've always gone to Bills games or when I've been to Washington for a bunch of games, anywhere I go, I don't understand that. Don't you start drinking with all your buddies about 8 in the morning and everybody's doing shots and getting ready to go? It doesn't matter what time the game is. Come on, brother.
Oh, of course. But it's so fun. Like my experience was amazing when it was a 4:25 game. Like we got up at like 9 a.m. We were drinking at big breakfast, drank at breakfast, went to Gillette Stadium, drank all afternoon there, met up with some guys that were tailgating. It was so funny. They laughed at us. They were like, "You guys just showed up with nothing. Like we just didn't have any. We got so lucky with where they told our guy that was driving us to park. They were all watching the afternoon games, having drinks. It was, I don't know. I just thought my experience was really fun when it was a 4:25 game. But either way, I'm looking forward to it.
You'll be fine.
Buster, I never thought that the Jets versus Patriots this weekend was going to be a game worth watching. But here we go. It is going to be a good one. But as far as the Montreal Canadiens game goes with the Devils, look, Carm's right. Montreal plus 150, Devils minus 180 here. Total 6.5. And look, anybody that knows me and anyone that's, on my plays, they know that I actually don't get involved in Canadian games that often. But when I do, I've had a pretty good read on them this season. And you take a look at this game. I mean, Carm set it up perfectly with that stretch that New Jersey's on right now. And the way Montreal's performing, it's definitely one of those things where the Devils started off with a couple iffy games to get the season kicked off, and then they've just looked mid-season form. All their top players being their top players, their defense has stepped it up a little bit. But Montreal, I mean, as much as everybody wants to poke fun at the tweet that I made a couple days ago about having the best duo in the league, statistically right now, Carm, they actually, their top line is one of the best in the league for this year, statistically. So I just want to say I'm not much of a goal scoring guy as far as the prop goes. I usually save those for playoff betting for obvious reasons. Those guys get more ice time, power plays, how important those are. But honestly, if you're ever betting the Montreal Canadiens right now, you're not really you're not really wrong to either play a Caulfield or a Suzuki goal scoring prop. Those guys are scoring right now right now at will and finding the net whenever they get in, get the W. But you talked last week about the Seattle Kraken and their team total overrun. Well, the Montreal Canadiens are having a good run with their team total over as well, Carm. And that's kind of what I was thinking for this game. But overall, look, Jake Allen has been outstanding for the Montreal Canadiens. And in games that he's been subpar, they've had his back, and they've played pretty well defensively. But I think this is going to be a game where the ice is completely opened up. The New Jersey Devils, although they have kind of corrected some mistakes defensively they made early in the season and last year, I still think they're an over team. So the way I would look is actually over 6.5 here. I still am kind of tempted by the plus 150, I'll be honest. I mean, Montreal has been a barking dog in a lot of these games. And one thing I've been impressed in with these Montreal Canadiens games is, even in defeat, it's a 1 or 2 goal game. They haven't really been blown out of the water in many of their games as of late. So that is kind of a price that does catch my eye, but I actually think we could see goals tonight, Carm. What about you? What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I think we could see some goals tonight as well, too. Although, I think I'm priced out of taking New Jersey because I think they'll, while they're at 180 now, they might go to just a touch higher. And I don't want to play against them. It's the old, I don't want to try and catch a falling knife. I don't want to jump in front of a streak. They've won 9 games in a row. What more can you ask for? They're just sometimes teams go on these runs and they just continue to win, but you have to also respect the fact that the Habs have won 3 games in a row. They're playing well. Jake Allen's in goal, and the guy's played well. And then I sort of look at his numbers, and it's like he's 5-5 with a 3.19 goals against average, .902 save percentage, and that's actually a very good number considering sort of the season that the Habs have had. A few wins and then they lose a few. It's sort of teeter-totter back and forth, which is why I'm going to look at the team total. And I'm going to look at New Jersey's team total. The fact that Jake Allen is confirmed as tonight's starting goalie. The team total for New Jersey, 3.5 minus 120 on the over. Allen's allowed 4 or more goals in 4 of his last 5 starts. So with that thought in mind, I'm going to keep the simple approach here that I'm going to take the team that is on fire right now, playing extremely well, going into Montreal, getting some resistance from a team that is on a nice little streak of their own. But if we see some goals and you figure New Jersey's going to win this game, then the team total is probably the better spot here. So over 3.5 team total for New Jersey for me. Don Buster.
Well, guys, it looks like we're all thinking the same way in this game. I already gave this over 6.5 out to my clients last night. New Jersey is arguably the best team in the NHL right now. Winners of 9 straight, 12 out of 13. You could argue Boston's right there with them. So between the two of them, they do average. Carmine has that bet there going on the New Jersey team total. They do average 3.67 goals a game, and Montreal allows over 3. But they do struggle on defense, Montreal. That's just the way it is. They do. But Montreal, as Andrew has pointed out, they've been scoring some goals of late. They've actually averaged over 4 goals a game their last 4 games, and they've won 3 straight. So that's good for the overs. New Jersey are 5-1-1 to the over their last 7 games, and the over between these two clubs are 5-1 the last 6. So I really do like the over here. As for the side, again, we've seen this. Andrew asked me, I don't know, maybe 3 weeks ago, we were about 2-3 weeks into the season, and he asked me what did I think was the biggest thing that was going on in the NHL, what was different, whatever. And I said to him, I could not believe the parity. I could not believe how these teams, these what are supposedly bottom feeders or whatever you want to call them, are beating a lot of these teams. A lot of guys that are playing favorites are getting beat up because, and you saw it again, Carmine mentioned with St. Louis last night, they're getting like plus 170, so you're laying 200 with Colorado losing. Every night in the NHL, it seems like every night you're getting 1 or 2 of these big favorites losing. So I feel sorry I got a lot of friends that like to bet favorites all the time. As you guys know, that's not the way I play hockey, but it's been a struggle for them. And in saying that, Yeah, New Jersey, do you want to step in front of that? No. I actually tried to, the last couple of weeks, I tried to step in front of a couple teams and lost the game in overtime and lost the other one in the third period late. So, yeah, I'm not stepping in front of New Jersey here. Is Montreal live dog? For sure they are. Again, I agree totally with Andrew. This game, I think, is going to be a little bit wide open. And, again, do you want to lay New Jersey money? Do you want to be on a team at like minus not 190 like Carmine says? And again, with all the parity and with all the upsets that we're having in the NHL so far this year, yeah, I don't want no part of that. And I'm not going to bet Montreal because I am like Andrew as well. I very seldom bet my team. Although I'll tell you guys, if this was two other teams and you take Montreal out of it, I'd probably take the dog here. But I don't want no part of it. To me, goals. Let's go over 6.5.
Let's get some goals. Carmine looking specifically at the Devils on their team total, and Buster and I looking for goals in general. We don't care who scores them. Give us over 6.5, and we will be happy. Wanted to mention as well, as far as anybody looking for props in this game, look, as I always said, and I say I'm prop it up every week, I don't always bet on certain guys. I'm more so betting against or with, a trend or a ranking. Well, the Devils, they are number 2 in the whole league as far as shots on goal per game. Montreal, I believe they rank number 24 in shots allowed. So definitely something worth mentioning. Definitely something worth keeping your eye on as far as shots on goal props with the New Jersey Devils. Maybe even a night where you could look at Jake Allen's save props. And to be honest with you, I know it might sound kind of funny to you guys, but lately I find that if you like an over, or if you like let's say you're betting against the Philadelphia Flyers, right? You have, let's say it's like, I don't know, Columbus against Philly. You got Columbus in regulation at minus 120 or way better price than that, whatever it might be. You take a look at Columbus, you have them all ready to win the game. You could honestly, I think, get sort of I know you don't want to hedge your own bet, but you can take Carter Hart over on his save prop and either have the potential, I think, to at the worst go 1-1 or potentially 2-0 on that. And I've actually been taking a look at that sometimes because, tonight you could take New Jersey to win the game, and they could just pepper Montreal with shots and somehow lose the game, but Jake Allen covers his save prop, or they could win the game and he still, goes way over or something like that. With some teams that rely heavily on goaltending, I've been looking at that a lot. I know you've been getting into the shots on goal props. Have you ever looked at the save props, Carm?
I haven't. I'm trying to key in on one certain area where I think there's a bit of a weakness as far as the numbers go. Before they start adjusting them, and the books do adjust them. You know what I mean? Like we talked about, the Brian Rust over 2.5 shots, and that got juiced from, it was always in the minus 120s and eventually hit the minus 160s and minus 170s. And when Seattle went through that nice little team total over 2.5, laying very minimal juice, and then all of a sudden it was 3.5, or you had to lay a $1.90 with the 2.5s, right? So you take advantage of it until you can no longer take advantage of it and the value is gone. So, and I have said on Twitter that the minute I find the next one that is a one, I will mention it on the show. And if you guys can make some money before that one gets adjusted as well too, then so be it. We talk about, a few seasons past, it took a while for Andrew, for the books, Alex B. Smith talked about the Chicago first period overs, and those hit at an unbelievable price, and they weren't juiced. They weren't getting juiced until eventually the books caught up when it was something like 18 or 19-1, and then they started making them 170, 180, and you couldn't play them anymore.
And what's crazy is that with the Brian Rust prop and a couple other ones, because I track a lot of these, and it's always funny when the juice goes up on a prop and then the guy stops hitting. That's always how it seems to go, right? Like Brian Rust was 115 all the time, and then when he went to 170, he's just out there skating around. So I've noticed that. So anyway, it's definitely good. I like your style though with that, because you pick your guy and you roll with your guy, and even I talked about him yesterday, but I gotta I give a lot of respect to Andy Lang for his props and how he rolls, and he even says to me, he's like, look, man, last year in the playoffs for NHL, I maybe had like 20 wagers, and out of those 20, it was the same probably 4 guys, right? Kaprizov, Bergeron, a lot of the same guys that are making money. Why would he go away from it? And it's hard to argue with that. Let's jump into a really good game here, Buster. We have the Maple Leafs and Penguins here. This game is in Pittsburgh. This is sort of a revenge game. These two clubs played last week. And Carmine and I both picked the Penguins in this contest as I believe it's just small underdogs. I think they were like plus 120 or 130. So it's a chance here for the Maple Leafs to get some revenge. We also have breaking news as far as the goaltending situation here. Well, breaking as of yesterday, Matt Murray will be back in between the pipes for the Toronto Maple Leafs. So look forward to hearing what you guys have to say about that. But the Leafs are minus 115 as short favorites. Of course, any game involving the Leafs right now, at least in Pittsburgh, the total still remains at 6.5. But were you involved in the game last week with these two clubs, Buster? And what are your thoughts here tonight?
Actually, Andrew, I was involved in that game, and I unfortunately took the Leafs. So, again, I actually like the Leafs tonight, and I like the under here, but they will not make my card. Because right now, as always, I used to never, ever bet the Leafs. Never. So I even told my clients they're on the no-bet list, especially when I lost a game in overtime because I took them, I think it was last Tuesday, had Toronto against Vegas trying to break that streak, and they lost in overtime. So the Leafs are on my don't-bet list, that's for sure. Matt Murray, as you said, starts in Pittsburgh. His first start since the injury. And I got to believe the Leafs are going to play hard for him, especially playing his old club. Like, I mean, it's a big game. I'm not sure how much I trust Matt Murray, but I mean, it's a big game. I think the Leafs will actually really play for him tonight. And of course, and I know we've talked about this before, and Carmine, I don't think believes in it. I've mentioned it a bunch of times, but you know what? Leafs have instant revenge, and that angle has been working. It worked great just last week alone. Minnesota had the revenge on Seattle, they win. Rangers on Detroit, they win. Tampa Bay on Washington, they win. LA on Chicago, they win. All instant revenge. I think if I remember right, there was 1 out of maybe 8 games that lost on that instant revenge angle. So it's been working, just like those angles that we've looked at on back-to-backs and stuff that's worked. You know, keep those in mind. Again, the price is right, I guess, for the Leafs. Here's a problem why, for starters, they're on my don't bet list, but why you might want to take Pittsburgh. Because the Leafs are terrible on the road. They're 1-4 last 5, and they're 1-4 in Pittsburgh in their last 5. So right away there. And you might think of the thought process that Matt Murray didn't look too good his first start, and maybe he's just, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I don't think Matt Murray's the guy to save the day, but I think he has a good game tonight. It looks like Jari's going to be in that as well. The side is super tough as well. I do like it under. They did play under 4-2 the last game. 4 of the last 5 games for Toronto have went under. We've talked about this on the show. Can we imagine that Toronto might be an under team? I don't know, but it's looking that way this year. I got to believe that'll turn around, so that scares me off, especially going against a Pittsburgh club who both these teams can score goals. Jari's been terrible.
Buster froze, I think.
I do believe we did lose Buster there for a second, but sounds like he's liking the under as well, and I think he's staying away from the side in this one. Just going over the numbers here for the Maple Leafs, Carm. He's right. I mean, we talked about them being more of an under team. Of course, they kept Boston to just 1 goal, Carolina to just 1 goal. So they've been a good defensive team, that's for sure. And but struggling to really put up big numbers, really, against teams that aren't named Philadelphia. I don't think we've seen them reach 4 goals in, their past 12, 13, 14 games. So that's definitely something worth mentioning as far as this Leafs team is concerned. Buster, sorry, I just wanted to jump in there to have your back. You can finish up your thoughts.
Appreciate that. Didn't realize I went out. So obviously every once in a while, but I've got this on a click, so it should be good. So as the under, again, I like the under, but I don't really strong on the under. Like I say, I'm going to lean to Toronto, lean to the under, but both games don't make my card because I can see how Pittsburgh can go and how Pittsburgh can go over. So everybody betting this game, good luck tonight.
Carm, one thing for me is when I have a back-to-back, I do this as well in Canadian football and the CFL. Often they do a lot of home and home type of thing, like 1 week. If I won the first leg, I don't even really feel tempted to get involved in the second. I want to just keep my money I made last week. I don't want to get involved again and give it back to the books, right? Is this something that is similar with you, or every day is a new day and every game is a new game? Because I'm liking some angles here in this one, but I'm also satisfied with the plus 130 ticket I cashed last week. What do you think here in this game?
Yeah, I wouldn't blame you for being happy about cashing that 130 ticket. And Buster's right to a point. I don't subscribe to the instant revenge thing a majority of the time. So I don't like the instant revenge thing. I don't like instant coffee. I don't like instant gratification. I don't even like instant replay, especially when it affects my teams. But with that said, Andrew, I look at this game, and if you look at from where the line opened to where it is now, and it opened at about minus 110 both ways. And then even with the goalie announcement, 97% of the public money has been on the Leafs. 77% of the public tickets, have been on the Leafs, and the line's moved 5 cents. That's it. It is. I'm sorry. Listen, I get it. Matt Murray's coming home. I get Matt Murray's the revenge. Matt Murray played for Ottawa when they went to Pittsburgh. He didn't get any revenge there. It hasn't been the same Matt Murray since the 2018 Penguin season for him, where he had 28 or 29 wins. He's been in a steady decline, had 2 bad seasons in Ottawa, plays 1 game for the Leafs, gets injured, gets shelled, and hasn't played in over a month. And regardless of practice or anything else, if the Pens get a ton of shots on goal on him, he's going to let some goals in. It just stands a fact. This line, I'm getting Pittsburgh at minus 105 at home. I get it's the Leafs. I get they are a good team. But the Pens are also a good team. 3-game road trip, East Coast road trip, albeit, and they picked up 5 of a possible 6 points. That's not a team that's slumping. That's a team that is starting to win again after a short losing spurt for this team. So with that said, I'm taking the small money price here and the Pittsburgh Penguins at home.
I mean, yeah, the only team that they couldn't get a win off of, the lethal Montreal Canadiens, Carm, but that's for a whole new story. And I'm with you when you take a look at the Penguins and this situation. I mean, I got to ask you guys, we can all agree that Samsonov is better than Murray, right? Can we all agree on that?
I will agree with that.
Yeah. Carm, would you agree with that? Because what's the price in this game if Samsonov is in net? That's what I'm wondering, because I think it should be higher. I'm not sure if it is higher, but I agree with you that I think that the books just they whether it is they know they're going to get action or they're just really high on the Leafs like always. I mean, they've been like the 3rd favorites to win the cup the past couple of years, but I just don't think that price can be justified with Matt Murray being between the pipes. If it's Samsonov,
yeah.
I would bet on the Leafs tonight. I would have my money right now on the Leafs. With Matt Murray in net, I can't take a side in this game.
Yeah,
it's
listen,
like
I get it. And
Forrest Gump, Carm. We don't know what we're going to get.
and I get it. The Leafs have talented players. Marner, Matthews, Nylander, Tavares, who's probably been the MVP as far as I'm concerned for the Leafs thus far this season. But at the end of the day, I'm just going to clear my throat here, Andrew, because I want to say this in one fell swoop. Look at me, Leaf fans. Look closely at this face. Zoom in, Dan, if you can. You guys are not Stanley Cup contenders. You are not Stanley Cup contenders with Matt Murray, Eric Shalgren, and Samsonov as your goalie trio. You are not a Stanley Cup contender. The teams that win cups are teams with goalies. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. You're not going to outscore every team in the playoffs. Only the Colorado Avalanche can do that. So you can say I poke fun at the Leafs, but until they do something and get a top-notch goalie, Matt Murray was not the move to make. They brought in the perennially always injured Mrazek last year, and he ends up on the DL. They got to do something. They got to find a goalie in cap space. Unfortunately, has a lot to do with that. So this is the last year for Dubas. If they don't make it out of the first round, they are gone, or he is gone.
I was watching something on it was TSN, and they were saying two goalies they would potentially look at: Jonas Korpisalo and James Reimer, who is a former Leaf, to go back to the Maple Leafs. So that'd be kind of interesting to see as far as James. I'd love to see James Reimer back in a Leaf uniform. I think that'd be kind of things would really come full circle there. Speaking of James Reimer, let's
Andrew,
talk about.
Andrew, can I just mention one thing to add to what Carmen had to say? Also, another reason why the Leafs aren't going to win a cup is because if you look at even last game, they got out-hit 41-14. I know everybody calls them soft, but they are 41-14 Pittsburgh, and that's another reason why I'm passing this game. But again, you can't be playing that type of hockey. Right now, you might win some games that way, but to come to the playoffs, you need to have a whole team and a tough team, and that's another reason. They have so much talent. I said it for years, and I know everybody disagrees, and I know he's a great coach, or supposedly great coach, but you have to change him up. You have to have some kind of change to get these guys going. They look like they're moving in the right direction, playing defensive hockey. They look like they're moving in the right direction, but when you're getting out hit 41-14, that's tough.
But Buster, though, Keith wasn't the guy that brought in Pierre Engvall, that's 6'5" and wouldn't hit it or kill a spider. You know what I mean? He didn't bring in those guys, right?
Dubas but Andrew, at the end of the day, in every sport, it's not like a lot of times. Do you think it was really Babcock? Babcock's a fantastic coach. Sometimes you just have to change stuff
Listen,
up. That's all.
I'm going to tell you guys I'm going to tell you one type of player, Andrew, that the Leafs are missing. Imagine if the Leafs had a player like Nazem Kadri. Imagine if they actually had a guy like that in the lineup who could score goals, be physical, and play tough. But the guy picks up a couple suspensions in the playoffs, boneheaded moves. But you know what? He also has a Stanley Cup now. He has a Stanley Cup. And he went to Calgary now. He's having a very good season. Stanley thing. They are too quick to get rid of the character guys and keep the ballerinas on the team who their feelings get offended when Babcock makes them do a little bit of work. But with that said, we have a third game we need to talk about.
Yeah. I mean, I could jump into that conversation for another half an hour. Let's get into the Wild game here. Wild and Predators. This matchup always seems to be a good one, which is why we have a pretty much pick 'em price here in this one here in total at 6, slightly shaded towards the under. But this Wild team, has been such a funny team to figure out because I talked about James Reimer. Well, James Reimer, they just lost to him a couple days ago in the San Jose Sharks as -220 favorites. Well, both Buster and Carm talk a lot about how they don't want to bet with these big favorites, want to stay away from these big numbers because every now and then there's going to be that barking dog that is just there and really is going to just say, hey, you know what? This team didn't deserve to be that big of favorites. And right now, the Wild are a team that I don't want to have my money on when they're a big favorite. But in this situation, against a Nashville team that just can't seem to consistently find their offense, it might be a good bounce back spot here for the Minnesota Wild. But I'm actually passing this game. If I had a play, I would lean towards the under. I do not, however, have a play in this game, so I'll go to Carm to see if he does, because this is one where it's two teams I can't seem to figure out right now.
Amazon.
Yeah, sorry. That was my doorbell going there. But Andrew, this is actually a play that is up on the Wager Talk site. Not only one of my plays for tonight, but it's a free play that I loaded, and I took the under in this. You look at it's taken a while for books to adjust totals, and specifically for this Montreal Wild team. If you've watched the last couple of weeks of the show, anytime the Minnesota Wild are on the card that we discuss, I talk about taking the under with this team. They are 9-1 to the under their last 10 games. And this is a team that got absolutely annihilated the first 2 or 3 games of the season. They allowed 6 and 7 goals in some of those games, but they have been very good defensively, and their games are going under the total. Like I said, 9-1. They take on a Preds team who are 4-2 to the under this season at home. And then you look at it, if we're going to get the starters in goal tonight, which is Fleury, he's 4-1-1 on the road this season, 1.8 goals against average with a save percentage of .940. Same save percentage that Saros has as well too. Saros' save percentage is in his last 4 starts at home is also 0.940. This is one of those games where it's the under or nothing for me. I don't want to take a side, so it's the under or nothing for me. And it's a client play that I have up at Wager Talk and free play up on the site. So under 6 for me. Don Buster?
Well, it looks like we have another game that we're all agreeing on, and I like the under as well. But let's talk about the side first. Minnesota has played much better on the road. They've won 3 of their last 4. The only loss was that 1-0 game in LA. Big problem for the Wild. They have struggled in Nashville. They're 1-8 last 9 in Nashville, and the home team in the series has won 13 of 18 games. Nashville's got to be feeling pretty good about themselves. Beating New York Rangers the other night 2-1. Problem was they got badly outplayed, and Soros stole that game. So for me, just like Nashville's a very good home club too. So like I say, they played a bad game last game, but the eye test tells me Minnesota, that really bad trend against Minnesota kind of makes this game a pass for me. And I know we talk about this all the time about, people say, well, that's in the past, Buster. It's in the past. Well, I tell you, I, along with you, I guess, Carmine, because I heard you say you took Ottawa yesterday. I had Ottawa yesterday because I thought they were the better team. The Islanders were playing not that well, and I thought Ottawa on the eye test was looking really good the last few games, even though they lost. Well, guess what? The Islanders were 10-1 in Ottawa. I should have passed that game, but no. So I'm passing this one, even though I think Minnesota might be the play. I like it under, as I said. Carmine's mentioned a bunch of stats. They're 9-1 to the under. Minnesota 6-0 last 6 to the under. Nashville plays unders at home, 5-7 to the under. And again, you had already mentioned Fleury and Saros. Fleury was even joking the other day. He's right in the zone. He was joking to the reporter after the game how he was bored. He wasn't getting enough shots on goal. So, I mean, he's right in the zone. Saros, as I just said, stole the game against New York. He's capable of stealing. Really like the under here. Do not want no part of a side here. That's for sure. Under 6 for me as well, guys.
All right, let's get a good defensive game with 2 good goaltenders. That's for sure. Looking at the under 6 here seems to be a consensus play as far as the 3 of us here on Puck Time. And again, we want to thank all of you guys that tune in every day live watching us. Encourage you to download the app, iOS, Android, Roku. Soon to come on more locations, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment, hit that thumbs up, and subscribe to our channel. We have all kinds of great content, college basketball, NBA, football, college football. You name it, we have it here on Wager Talk TV. One last game before we jump into best bets, and we're talking Dallas and Tampa Bay. Stars against Lightning here. We have Lightning minus 130, Stars plus 110, total at 6, shaded slightly towards the over in this one. Guys, real quick, I just wanted to mention here about how this Dallas team, it's been a very long time since they've been an over team, or at least a team total over team. I mean, you think back to them in the playoffs, you think back to them when they were a team that was winning and being very successful. What were they doing? Well, they needed that magic number of maybe even 2, but most likely 3 goals to win a game. And they'd have whoever it was, Anton Khudobin, now Jake Ottinger, Ben Bishop back in the day. Just a good goaltender to hold things down for them. They've always been strong as far as the goaltending position goes. And right now, they are a team that can score goals, 5 goals against Philly, 4 against San Jose. I know those are weaker teams, but 6 against Edmonton, 7 against Arizona, 5 against LA. Even in games they're losing, they're still scoring 3 or 4 goals. This is a team that, going up against Tampa Bay, that sort of was struggling to score, but was giving up goals. You take a look at Tampa Bay's last couple games, and they've got a great goaltender, obviously, Vasilevsky. I think Carr mentioned a few days ago, not being a guy we've seen him be. Against Washington, they allow 3. Against Washington the time before, they give up 5. Then 3 against Edmonton, 3 against Buffalo, 4 against Carolina, 3 against Ottawa, 3 against San Jose. It's been a very long time since they've kept a team to under 3 goals, you know. This is a team that is not an under team, in my opinion, right now, despite Tampa Bay having the ability to play like that. I'm going to keep riding the overs with the Dallas Stars. They are not the same under team they used to be. And this is one of the few teams in the league that we are not going to get a 6.5 with, or we aren't getting many with. That's for sure. So Tampa Bay's offense is starting to wake up a little bit, and Dallas's offense is on cruise control right now, which I think is also opening up their defense to a couple mistakes, which might lead to even more overs. So, Buster, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Dallas is an over team this year. The Leafs are an under team. I don't know if the world's ending or something, but it's definitely a bit of a strange thing right now in the NHL.
It's funny how you say that. It might be ending. Who knows? But you know what, Andrew? I'm with you. I like this over. Both teams have been scoring a bunch of goals of late. Dallas have gone 5-0-2 their last 7 to the over. Tampa Bay have gone 5-1-1 their last 7 to the over. When these guys play in Tampa Bay, 10-3-4 to the over the last 17 games. So, I don't know. Again, what gives me caution and pause, it's Ottinger and Vasilevsky. And I've said on here, and I guess Carmine's been reiterating that Vasilevsky doesn't seem himself. Ottinger can play well, but he can also give a bunch of goals. So, at 6, I really like the over here. And I always say, in the NHL, you can get the 6 pretty easy. So with these two teams that have been scoring some goals, like the over. I see that like on the graphic, it seems like it's minus 130 for Tampa now. When I looked at this last night, it was 190. Got bet right down last night to 160. If Tampa's 130, they might be worth a little bit of a play because Dallas struggles in Tampa Bay. They're 4-11 the last 15 games against Tampa Bay, and when Tampa Bay was 160, 170, I'm not taking Tampa Bay, But so might look at Tampa Bay now just because of everybody obviously is betting Dallas. So always like to be the contrarian and take the other side of that. But at the end of the day, with caution because of the 2 goaltenders, but I still think over 6 we get there tonight.
And it's just crazy to think that, like you said, with these 2 talented goaltenders we have. And Carm, I got to ask you this because you talked about that win-1 factor. You get the monkey off your back. Well, I don't think Tampa Bay really had a monkey on their back, but they haven't been playing great hockey. I think they were like 1-3 their last 4 games. Their win against Washington on Sunday was a dominant victory, but it's against a team that you and I have been looking to fade. They have injuries, and even when they got guys back, they're still not looking the same. Does that mean that we're going to see Tampa Bay? Is that a good boost game for them to get back to themselves, or is it still a scenario where we don't know if Tampa Bay is back to normal?
Yeah, I don't think we know yet. I'm very proud of myself because regardless of whether the bet wins or not, I bet Dallas last night. I got the CLV on this one, the closing line value, and it's because I knew that Vasilevsky was likely going to start both road games. They've got Calgary and Nashville coming up. So there was a good chance it was going to be Elliott in net for Tampa Bay today. And while Buster was talking, I went to check the goalies, and it's down to 130 right now and plus 110 for Dallas because it is confirmed that Brian Elliott is in goal for Tampa Bay tonight. So it's not Vasilevsky at home. And so that obviously factors into it, a bet on it, because you want, if you're going to lay that price with Tampa, you want Vasilevsky in goal. But even if he was in goal, even if that didn't pan out for me, Andrew, listen, Ottinger's been absolutely lights out this year, other than the game against the San Jose at home where he allowed 5 goals in a 5-4 loss. You look at him, he bounced back with a 5-1 win against Philadelphia. The games prior to that, he allowed 2 goals, a shutout, 2 goals, a goal, and a goal. Other than that 5-4 loss to San Jose, this guy has been lights. 5-4 loss to San Jose. The guy has been lights out in goal. We saw it last year in the playoffs where he literally stood on his head against the Calgary Flames and almost carried the Dallas team into the next round of the playoffs. This guy is a very good goalie. And if Tampa's not back to where they were, then they're going to struggle again tonight against a very good goalie. So if Dallas shows up tonight, Dallas gets the win. So I wanted to end this show by saying Dallas is a nice dog, kind of like I did yesterday with St. Louis. Take this nice price dog, but now they're only plus 110. The closing line value is, I got it, but it's no longer available at when it's plus 110. But I still think they win tonight.
All right, yeah, that is great value, and that just goes to show, what happens when you look at the board overnight and you make those bets early. We have to wrap this show up pretty quickly here, Buster. So if you could just keep it short with the best bet and what you have going on tonight. But it's always great to have you on the show, man. Give us your best bet.
Thank you, Andrew. I will make it quick. My show best bet, we've already talked about it. And I know everybody expects the first period puck lines and that, but believe it or not one of them made it. I have a little system for those things, and not one made the grade today. So sorry, guys who like that. The guys that hate it, they're happy about this. The play, our best bet, Montreal, Jersey, over 6.5. Really like this game. We've talked about it. Going to be wide open. We all agree on it, and so we'll see how that works out. The first 3 weeks, when it was all kumbaya, things worked out pretty good for the three of us. So this week, the last couple, not so much. This week, another kumbaya show. So let's hope that we get a bunch of winners tonight. Thanks again for having me, like every day, every Tuesday. And as always, best of luck with all your bets, guys and gals.
Great stuff there, Buster. And I love that over sm.buzz/BS. Get Buster's plays over at Sports Memo. Over to you, Carm, for your best bet and what you have going on, not just today, but for the rest of the week.
Yeah, so 3 plays up for tonight in NHL, and I'm going to add some prop plays to that as well. 2-0 sweep last night, 5 in a row in NHL, and hopefully we are heating up at the right time. I'm going to make Johnny Detroit, if he's watching this show in our office, happy with this one. Not so much Detroit winning the game, although I believe they will, but I'm going to take Dominic Kubalik over 2.5 shots on goal, minus 120. Listen, this Anaheim team is allowing on average, 39 shots on goal. The shot props are good against them. You look at the games that they have allowed. While they did win 3-2 against Chicago, allowing 22 shots, 39 before that, 48, 52, 47, 44, 36. This is a team that just is not playing defense and allowing a lot of shots on goal, which means the shot props are hitting. Kubalik on that second line, they're starting to score, and scoring means you're shooting on goal. So over 2.5 shots on goal, minus 120 for Dominic Kubalik and the Detroit Red Wings tonight.
Love those props. And like you mentioned, there's certain teams that not only you want to bet on, but also bet against as far as that shots on goal market goes. I was happy with the 2-0 night yesterday in the NHL, very much needed. I did have the over in the Calgary game. Also had Carolina in regulation. So we'll try and keep the roll going. It's a 3-0 run here for me, and definitely could use one right now. Hopefully starting to see the board well. And we'll find some winners. So, guys, check out wagertalk.com. I'm going to have a package up that includes all the plays I end up getting on here for the NHL. For my best bet for today, I'm taking a look at a Sabres versus Canucks matchup here. You take a look at the Canucks. They've been on the road for a little while now, and anybody that knows me knows that I like to take overs near ends of road trip for teams. I just feel like they don't have their legs. They're not really there defensively. We've seen this Vancouver team just in general not have the best defense. Demko should be starting tonight. He's had a really down season. And Buffalo, they've lost several in a row. They'll be looking to bounce back, and usually when they win games, it's not really in low-scoring fashion. It's in high-scoring fashion. Total's at 6.5, but I do expect this one to fly over and see plenty of goals early and often here between Vancouver and Buffalo. So my best bet is the over there with that game. Take a look at the recap here. Carmine has Dominic Kubalik over 2.5 shots on goal. He plays for the Red Wings. Don Buster with the Jersey game and Montreal over 6.5. And I have Vancouver and Buffalo over 6.5 as well at minus 125. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.
Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at both wagertalk.com and sportsmemo.com when all daily picks packages